Welcome to Soul Care. This is a video log to think of ways to care for your soul, especially now, this week. You may be wondering about the title this week of my message. It's a word you maybe don't even know how to pronounce. It's Seelsorge, which is a German word. It starts with an S, but you say it like a Z, Seelsorge, and it means literally soul care. Seelsorge. It's a word that has been used in the field of pastoral care and counseling in theology schools in German-speaking countries to mean pastoral care, the care of the souls in a congregation or in a community. And I like that name because I think I, as a minister, try to care for souls, but also we try to care for our own soul and the souls of those we love. Some people have asked me whether soul care is the same as self-care, and it's related, but it's not the same. Caring for souls is about the spiritual part of your being. Self-care is what we talk about, in employment situations where are you taking care of yourself? Do you get enough exercise? Are you sleeping enough? Do you have a healthy diet? Do you practice something to relax and avoid stress in your life? Those are questions you would ask for self-care. This is more about your spiritual self. One of the giants in the field of pastoral care, or Seelsorge, was a man named Howard Kleinbell. He was a United Methodist minister and a pastoral counselor, and he wrote a lot of books that have been used in seminaries. Kleinbell says that we have 7 spiritual needs. All people, regardless of what religious tradition you practice, we have 7 needs. We need to experience healing and empowerment of love from others, from the self, and from an ultimate source. We need to have love in our lives. We need to experience renewing times of transcendence, expansive moments beyond the immediate sensory spheres. You think of mountaintop experiences or that moment of, in the middle of listening to beautiful music. Those are renewing times of transcendence. We also need to have vital beliefs that lend meaning and hope in the midst of the losses and tragedies and failures that we all experience. What can we cling to in times of despair? And we need to have values and priorities and life commitments centered in issues of justice and integrity and love to provide guidance in living that is personally and socially responsible. And we need to discover and develop inner wisdom, creativity, and love of self. We need to develop a deepening awareness of oneness with other people, the natural world, and all living things. We are connected. And we need to have spiritual resources to help heal grief, guilt, resentment, unforgiveness, self-rejection, and shame. And we need to deepen our experiences of trust, self-esteem, hope, joy, and the love of life, life itself. Really, all these things are topics that I hope to touch on in my weekly messages to you. Most of these needs revolve around the need for love and the need for something beyond ourselves. So self-care talks about the self in a physical way, but soul care talks about finding meaning in our lives through connections to God, to one another, and a love and connection to one's own inner being. Soul care talks about us as spiritual beings. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, "If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Caring for our souls is moving from that place of nothing that really matters to love that really matters. We need the love of one's own self. We need to be generous to ourselves and self-compassionate, not to be too critical of ourselves and not to be ashamed of who we are, not to have to pretend or boast. Care for the soul means saying, I'm okay. I'm not perfect. Life's not perfect, but it's okay. I'm good enough. And actually, I kind of like who I am, at least when I'm being honest and when I'm at ease, when I'm really being true to myself. And then we need love of others. And we learn this so much in the family, don't we? When as infants we receive unconditional love from our parents, that we are cared for, nurtured, cherished, allowed to be our unique selves. Then we learn to love others as they loved us. In the same way, we learn to trust others, appreciate others, and accept who we are in relationship with others. And ultimately, we also need the love of God, which is the basis for all love. If we can trust God's love, then we know that we are free to be ourselves and to relate in community, in healthy relationships. For God has created us to be individuals with a great capacity to love and to care about what is right. Martin Luther used the term Seelsorge to show that individuals need something more than the Catholic ritual of confession to feel whole. Searching for wholeness involves more than just acknowledging sin. Seeking to be whole has more to do with figuring out where we fit in to the world, in our relationship with God and with other human beings. Care for the soul is then transcendent. It goes beyond the physical, and it goes beyond the past with its actions and sins of our past. It seeks meaning in the moment and for the future. Thomas More, like Martin Luther, was a monk who studied to become a priest. But More dropped out of his order and became a psychotherapist and writer. It was in the 20th century. His Care of the Soul, with the subtitle A Guide for Cultivating Depth and Sacredness in Everyday Life, has become a classic in the field of spirituality. I have it on my shelf. More says, care of the soul is not a project of self-improvement, nor a way of being released from the troubles and pains of human existence. It is not at all concerned with living properly or with emotional health. These are the concerns of temporal life. Care of the soul touches another dimension, in no way separate from life, but not identical either with the problem solving that occupies so much of our relationships and our consciousness. We care for the soul solely by honoring its expression, by giving it time and opportunity to reveal itself, and by living life in a way that fosters the depth, interiority, and quality in which it flourishes. Thomas More says, soul is its own purpose and end. Care of the soul, or Seelsorge, touches the deepest dimension of being human. We live our life from God, and we find our life in God. To tend a soul is to lead it in the ways of God, who is the source and the end of the journey. Paraphrased from Moore. We take this journey and we take it with others, thank goodness we're not alone. We help one another care for our souls by talking about things that matter, by helping a friend feel valued and good about life, by remembering a tender experience, by learning to create imagination and hope for ourselves and our world. That's Seelsorge. So take care of your soul and let others into your life that they might help you also take care of your soul.